Karen's audacity had now reached the level of sheer recklessness. She had dialed emergency services on my ranch, fully convinced that her HOA authority and perceived influence could intimidate me into compliance. The morning sun glinted off the sprawling property, reflecting the perfectly maintained pastures, private lodges, docks, and access roads that were entirely under my legal ownership. She assumed that threats, bureaucratic overreach, and intimidation could bend reality. She was about to experience, in the most dramatic and absolute fashion, the consequences of audacity untempered by law, preparation, and strategic foresight. Karen arrived, clipboard in hand, flanked by a small group of enforcers and officers she had misled into believing her claims. "You are violating HOA rules. Emergency services have been called. Compliance is mandatory," she shouted, her voice rising with entitlement. Her enforcers nodded confidently, certain that intimidation could compel submission. What they did not realize was that every inch of the ranch, every lodge, dock, and pasture was under my ownership and lawful control. Any attempt to enforce her directives without consent was illegal, exposing her to both civil and criminal liability. I approached calmly, documentation in hand, with the full weight of operational authority at my side. Holding deeds, property permits, verified legal records, and operational directives, I addressed Karen directly. "This property, including every lodge, dock, and access road, is fully under my ownership. Your attempt to assert HOA authority here is unlawful. Any interference without my consent constitutes trespass, harassment, and unlawful action. In addition," I continued, my tone measured yet commanding, "I oversee every emergency authorization on this property. You have activated an emergency response on land that is fully under my control, without legal cause or authority." Karen's audacity faltered as disbelief and panic spread across her face. Her perceived power, based on imagined HOA authority and emergency intervention, collided with undeniable fact, law, and operational foresight. She attempted to escalate, shouting threats of fines, penalties, and legal action, while waving her clipboard as if it were a weapon of law. I countered methodically, deploying authorized personnel to secure all access points, manage communications, and prevent any unauthorized intervention. Every unauthorized move she attempted was intercepted and neutralized. Her audacity, meant as a tool of intimidation, had become the instrument of her humiliation. The pivotal moment came when law enforcement and legal authorities arrived to verify property ownership, emergency protocols, and operational authority. Reviewing documentation and surveying the property, they immediately confirmed that all actions taken by Karen were unauthorized and unlawful. Her face drained of color as officers explained that any attempt to enforce her HOA directives could result in civil and criminal liability. Her enforcers, realizing the danger of continued compliance, withdrew immediately. Karen's audacity, which had once served as a tool of perceived dominance, had spectacularly backfired. Neighbors, staff, and local authorities gathered to witness the unfolding spectacle. Karen's frantic shouting, wild gestures, and futile attempts to assert authority were starkly contrasted by the calm, precise, and lawful execution of operational measures on the ranch. Every action she attempted collided with law, preparation, and unassailable authority, transforming her audacity into a public demonstration of incompetence. By mid-afternoon, Karen attempted to salvage her pride, calling the HOA board and demanding recognition or support. Each effort was systematically dismantled with documentation, legal authority, and operational control. The ranch remained fully secured, emergency protocols intact, and Karen's audacious attempt reduced to public humiliation. Observers witnessed firsthand the consequences of entitlement without authority, aggression without preparation, and audacity without foresight. By evening, Karen had fled, utterly defeated and publicly humiliated. The property lay calm, fully under my lawful control, and every act of attempted intimidation dismantled. By nightfall, the lesson was unmistakable. Audacity without legal authority, aggression without preparation, and entitlement without understanding inevitably results in public humiliation, irreversible defeat, and undeniable exposure. Karen had assumed her actions could bend reality. Instead, she collided with law, strategic foresight, and unassailable authority at every step.